Welcome to the Be Kind podcast with your co-hosts Seth and Ra. Presented by the Animal Advocates of South Central Pennsylvania.
Welcome back to the newest episode of the Be Kind podcast, brought to you by the Animal Advocates of South Central Pennsylvania. I am Seth.
And I am Ra.
And we are here to bring you the empathy, if you know what I mean. How are you, Ra?
I'm doing just okay this week.
Just okay. We'll take okay. You know, life is like that.
Yeah.
Life doesn't always, it's not always a 10 out of 10.
Right. Yeah.
But I got to say, there's something about you.
Oh.
Visually is different today.
Yeah.
I think you have a little color in your hair.
I might have a little color in my hair.
It's very interesting. Like, what drove you to do the little color in the hair?
Something different.
Something different. It's like a little streak of pink, magenta, chartreuse.
I think the actual color was raspberry.
Okay. Yeah, I can go with that. Now, shall I assume that this is a vegan hair dye?
It is vegan and cruelty-free.
How did you source this?
Well, there are actually a lot of brands that are now vegan and cruelty-free. With the fancy colors, there's two that have been around for a while. Manic Panic and Arctic Fox are both vegan.
I had
and
no
cruelty-free.
idea Manic Panic was vegan and cruelty-free.
I'm pretty sure Manic Panic is owned by two vegan women.
Huh.
I'm not positive,
Right.
but I'm pretty sure.
Okay, well, let's put it out on the internet and see what happens.
Okay.
So today we have a guest, a very special guest.
Hey!
Hello.
Karen, I've never said your name out loud. Mazich.
Yep.
Okay, Karen Mazich. And you're here today to talk to us about animal activism in South Central Pennsylvania.
I am.
This is a very exciting topic to me because it's a topic near and dear to my heart. I love activism. I think it's very important, and it's a tough thing to do. So first, why don't you tell us a little bit about your history with veganism and how you got into all this?
Okay. December of 2010, I guess it would be, I read the China study. And my mom had colon cancer. She'd survived it, but reading that book, I was like, oh my gosh, I should not be eating meat anymore. January that year, I did a PCRM, Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. They did a little 21-day vegan challenge. That was a little bit much for me because it was a lot of cooking with ingredients that I had never used before. So I was like, okay, let me start a little bit slower, and I did the vegetarian thing and slowly made my way. Took a few years until in 2018 I was just like, okay, 100% vegan at the beginning of the year. And it wasn't cheese that was holding me up. It was actually eggs because I'm a baker and I didn't want to let go of those favorite recipes, and I just couldn't get the veganization right. And then, but 2008.
Do you still enjoy baking?
I do. And I just don't make those recipes I used to. I just found new recipes that I love. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
What's your go-to egg replacer in baking?
Most of the time, flaxseed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That seems to work most of the time for me.
Excellent.
Yep.
Okay, so you're fully vegan at this point.
Yep.
Had you branched out into the community, the vegan community at all? Were you going it alone?
I had, done some visiting farm sanctuaries and, a lot of online stuff. Kind of dabbled a little bit in the community, not a lot because I'm more of an introvert. But in 2018, I also started volunteering at Lancaster Farm Sanctuary. So there I found a community.
Right.
So I've been volunteering there for all these years and just really have been very motivated by especially the farmed animals there. In 2017, going to my activism story, in 2017, I have been following the whole story about Libre, the dog that Speranza had rescued, and they ended up making some cruelty laws go into effect in the state of Pennsylvania in 2017. So I kind of actively followed that, and I actually went to the ceremony where Governor Wolf had signed it, and Libre was there, and he put his little paw print on there. That was really amazing. 2018, I had seen some information through the Humane Society about the U.S. Farm Bill and how they were really fighting some of the legislation on that. So I kind of dabbled a little bit in that. Then with being at the sanctuary, Sarah and Jonina that run that, they have always done a lot of political activism. So kind of learned a little bit from them.
Okay.
And then probably 2021, I did my first farm show protest.
So did you organize that?
No, I did not organize it. I had just gone with Central Pennsylvania Animal Action. I'd seen their posts on Facebook or whatever.
Okay, all right. And in case you're listening, not in Pennsylvania. So the farm show is something we have here in Pennsylvania, and it is just what it sounds like. It's like a home show or a Christmas show, but it's farmed animals, and it's an enormous bundle of misery and exploitation of typically farmed animals, and we like to protest it when we get the chance. So you went to was that your first animal protest ever?
I believe before that I had gone to a fur protest, and I think you were there.
Yes. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yes,
yeah.
I don't remember what year that was.
I was around that time.
Yeah, probably.
So you went to this protest at the farm show, and somehow you started to get more involved.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how did that transition happen?
Once I went there, I was like, oh, the people are going to be like really aggressive, because if you're not in Pennsylvania, you don't know that the farm show is huge. I mean, it's not like your little county fair where they have a few animals. I mean, it's huge. Yeah. Like
it's like a carnival for farm
It's a
animals.
very big deal. This year, the 2026 farm show, the pig that when they auction them off, the pig that was like the top pig, it was $16,000.
Wow.
Somebody bought that pig for $16,000. So it's a very, very big, like a lot of people take it very, very seriously.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very, very big deal.
Yes.
A lot of people's livelihoods and yeah.
So I thought when I initially went to the farm show the first time that people were going to be like yelling at us, and really they pretty much just ignored us. Like a couple people made the snide comment, why don't you go eat a burger, or those sorts of things, but really,
because those are such well thought out.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's better than get a job. I don't know why people think accusing you always
I've never
get a
heard
job.
that one. I've never heard get a job.
Yeah.
Is that
Oh
common?
yes, that's a big one.
Anytime you're protesting anything, somebody thinks it's somehow clever to insinuate that we don't have
you
jobs.
don't work.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, because it's too inconvenient for them to realize that we're actually taking times out of lives just as busy as theirs to stand up for something we believe in. So it's nice for them to think that we actually don't have anything else to do.
The one thing at the farm show that really hit me that first time was the reaction of people as they walked past our signs, because we have, signs of, chickens in cages or some, sad pictures so people know what's going on. And the parents would all turn away and the kids would all be looking at the signs.
Right, exactly.
And that really struck me, because you realize that that's your opportunity, that these kids don't understand what they're walking or what they're really seeing when they're in there. So that kind of motivated me. Started to do a little bit more activism. I've done some horse racing protests down in Pimlico and at parks out towards Philly, the parks racing course. That's been through Revolution Philadelphia and Horse Racing Wrongs. They're both really fantastic groups. I've been down to a turkey slaughterhouse in New Oxford. It's Plainville Farms. They actually had over almost 150 cruelty charges against some of their employees there for the way that they treat the animals.
Yeah,
So
they had charges for that. There was a protest that I had gone to at the state police because they weren't pressing charges. So it was PETA had organized that one, and we actually went to the state police in Harrisburg, not far from the farm show complex and protested there for them to actually press charges. And it took several months, maybe about a year, until anything was actually done. But then they did. I mean, that was a very serious case with Plainfield Dam.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest undercover investigation that PETA, or the most charges from a PETA undercover investigation that were ever filed.
Wow.
So it was really huge, yeah. So every once in a while, we would go down to Plainville. There's not a lot of traffic in that area, but it's kind of nice to let the employees know we're still there and, we're aware of what happened there, and hoping that they're not still doing those terrible things.
And of course, then you can make social media posts about what you've done, which is really now that we have that ability, you can protest somewhere where there's nobody at, and still have it be effective if you get the message out.
Yes. Yeah, I like to repost my videos, especially around Thanksgiving, so people kind of see what those turkeys go through as they're going into the slaughterhouse. Yeah.
So now you've started organizing.
Yes, with Central Pennsylvania Animal Action, we do mainly 3 protests a year. We do 2 rodeo protests and then the farm show protest.
Okay.
We would love to do more. It's unfortunately kind of difficult to get people to come out. So if we could get more people, we could find more things to protest.
Yeah, well, and that sort of goes to a lot of what I want to talk about is the protesting for animals in central Pennsylvania is kind of its own thing, because so much of the area it is dependent on animal agriculture, first of all, so it's a lot of people's lifestyles, and also there's not as large of a pool of potential protesters as there might be in a more urban or less industrial agricultural area. So that presents a couple very unique challenges. So I know I used to organize some protests, and for me it was sort of a supply and demand kind of thing. If I organized 7 or 8 protests, there just weren't enough people. There was too much. I was giving too much supply of protests, so you have to limit it so much. Have you found that to be true?
Yes, we had tried some other events, and we just couldn't get people to come out for it. Was it last year or 2 years ago? They do a dairy show every year at the farm show, and we went there, and we had a few people, but not a lot. And unfortunately, we didn't have the foot traffic either, so it was mostly cars going by that were seeing the sign. So how much of an impact was that really making?
Right, yeah. And it's a bummer because we live in central Pennsylvania, there's actually a tremendous amount of opportunities. There's so many things you could protest. You got the rodeos, you got everything that happens at the farm show, but you've also got, I organized one time a protest for a monkey rodeo at the Harrisburg Senators, the monkeys ride dogs. But 2 people came. It was me and 2, and when you have that small of a group, you kind of just look like lunatics instead of a movement. Well, it's better than nothing, but at the same time, the optics aren't ideal. So I
was really proud this year at the farm show. We had 16 people that came out.
It was a good turnout. I saw the Facebook pictures.
A great turnout. So super happy about that.
I wonder if maybe as veganism is becoming more populist or accepted, if maybe you'll see, maybe even in this area, your pool of potential protesters is growing over time.
Maybe. I think part of it, too, is maybe people are becoming a little bit more comfortable with the concept of it just because of other actions that people are taking now, that they're more comfortable going out in public and standing up for something they believe in.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. With all of the political upheaval we've had, people, I know a lot of people who have gone to their first ever protest of any kind in the past year or 2. So maybe people are just getting more.
I do feel like protesting is probably one of the hardest aspects of it, because it's not just that you're putting yourself out there, but you're putting yourself out there with a lot of opportunity for rejection or criticism, or that's hard for people, especially if you are more introverted and not as outgoing. That would be very, very challenging.
Yeah, especially when you could just stay home and not put up with that.
Warm.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
Not deal with the snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to tell people that, you can come out and just hold a sign. You don't have to interact with anybody. And I totally understand the fear of people yelling at you. I mean, my husband, he has come to a couple protests, and he just really doesn't like anybody yelling at him.
Well, yeah, it's not something that's a lot of fun. Yeah.
I mean, even like the one time a car was driving by, and like when we were at a rodeo protest, and they said something like, "Sir, don't you have anything better to do on a Saturday night?" And he was just like, "I didn't want to even like talk to them."
Yeah, well, and knowing what to say in the moment is also pretty tough. It can be challenging.
Yeah, but it's not just going to a protest. There's other things you can do for animal activism, like getting into like the political side of it, calling your representatives when a bill is coming up, or every morning when I get up, overnight I get all these emails from like PETA wanting you to sign petitions. Yeah. And you know what? Those work. Yeah. Like I whatever you want to say about PETA, I mean, those petitions make a difference,
I'm Team PETA all the way, the way. But I know that's a whole. We could do a couple podcasts about PETA. Yeah. So protest activism in general. So there are a lot of different opinions in the animal world about protest. There are animal advocates that don't like protest activism. They don't think it's good. What do you say to that?
I think we can prove that a lot of good things come out of it. The fact that there are so many companies now that are dropping fur because people are protesting in front of stores and, signing those petitions. And, I think being out in public, and especially in front of a store, and people can see what they're buying, and a lot of times people just don't know. So I think that makes a difference.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of people criticize it because they say that's not changing anybody's mind because they don't see a change happen in that moment.
Right.
But it's a delayed reaction thing, like especially with kids. Like when kids are going into a rodeo and they see a sign that says this is animal abuse, that might not change anything for years, but you've planted a little seed that rides along with that person and with adults too. And so I think it's something that you're not creating a visible change in the moment. You're creating change down the road.
Well, look at that at the fact that Ringling Brothers doesn't have elephants anymore.
Right.
That's true. Well, they don't have any animals, right?
Yeah, I think they're...
Oh, true. Yeah, they don't have any animals.
I think they went animal free. Yeah.
But the one thing, too, is they're kind of starting to end experiments on animals.
Right, that's true.
Yeah, so those are all things that, they've probably been working on for probably close to 100 years, if not more.
Yeah, right.
So you just got to say you're in it for the long haul. You can't just think you're going to go out to one protest and that's going to be at the end of it.
Right, yeah. And it's pretty rare that someone's going to be holding a sign and someone's going to walk by and say, oh, yeah, maybe I will go vegan.
Well, I think the thing about it is when you protest, you're bringing awareness to it. And the thing about it is that a lot of people they aren't aware. They don't know what happens. They don't know what goes on kind of like behind the scenes. Our way of life is just kind of our way of life. So when you have protesting or the petitions and then people are exposed to it and they're aware of what's going on, it gives them something to maybe think about and at least lets them know what's really happening.
Right. Yeah, and we get enough people protesting, then that creates a very slow but real cultural change.
The one thing that I try to do when I'm at an event like the farm show is I'll bring pamphlets of, different topics. Like, again, PETA is very happy to provide all sorts of free literature, and they have some that are about every sort of farmed animal and the way that animal is treated in the industry, but they also have one specifically targeted to, like, the dairy industry. So what I did this year when I was at the farm show is tried to find, as women were passing by that had children, I would say, hey, would you like to take this? And if they would actually stop, and I would say, I don't know if you know about the dairy industry, and just try to really relate it to being a mother and what a dairy cow goes through. And you could see, at least 2 or 3 of the conversations I had, you could see the gears turning. And you just need that little bit for people to start to think about it.
Excellent. Well, you're doing amazing work, because especially, like I said, in central Pennsylvania, it's conservative. It's agriculturally based. It's aggressive. So, and we need representation out in the public here. There's more than enough of it in areas where there's less resistance. So to do it in an area like this is very important.
Also have a high population of certain specific groups of people that are known for animal abuse, like religious groups that are known for not treating animals very well. And we have a high population of that religion here in this area.
That's true. That's true. There's a lot. It's a fertile ground for protesting and advocacy and all kinds of activism. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
The other thing, as far as other types of activism you can do, is I know that sometimes if you hear about a cruelty case that's going to court, there will often be activists that show up to that event with signs and, just to let people know why they're there and what's going on in this case, and hopefully also maybe swaying the judge to think a little bit differently when it comes to the sentencing of things. So, and they often do a lot of petitions around court cases too.
Okay, yeah. And so again, the group is called
Central Pennsylvania Animal Action.
And we can find you
on Facebook. It's Central Pennsylvania Animal Action.
Right here. John's going to put the link actually right here. Actually, wait, John.
No, that's too small. Make it bigger.
Okay, right here.
There you go.
Thank you.
And then on Instagram, it's Central_PA_animal_action.
We're not going to put. That's too hard for John. John has trouble with underscores. It's the weirdest thing.
What?
Yeah. I made that up. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
For everything you do and for coming on. And it's been fantastic.
Thank you. It's been great to be here.
Thank you, Karen.
This has been the latest episode of the Be Kind podcast featuring
me, I'm Ra.
And I'm Seth. And this has been Karen Mazich.
Very good.
See, I always thought it. I am glad I asked you because I thought it was going to be Mazich. I did think that.
People often think that.
Yeah. Well, this has been the Mazich episode. See you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Be Kind podcast, presented by the Animal Advocates of South Central Pennsylvania.